Today's video is going to be all about Instagram. I recently passed the 20k follower mark, which is pretty cool. I'm currently sitting at 22k, and that took 7 years, which is quite a long time really. But what if I told you that the last 10,000 followers came just in the last 4 months? Interesting, no? Well, let's get into it. But first, a little word from our sponsor, me. If you're a fan of dark, nostalgic art, then do check out my Etsy store, which sells all kinds of cool dark prints, Masters of the Universe stuff, and Cthulhu stuff, and old pirate ships and all that kind of good stuff. You can also check out my ArtStation store, where I have some tutorials where I'll show you how to make cool pirate skull thumbnails, as well as other digital painting tutorials, and more will be added soon, so check it out. So when I was going through the conceptualization phase of this video, I came up with a list of 11 things that I thought were important to talk about. We'll go through each of those in this video. The first thing that's worth talking about is, okay, so I've got 22,000 followers. Is that a lot? I would say it's in the small to medium range. There are a lot of artists out there with 100k followers, and some of the top guys, like this guy, cover of this book, Pascal Blanche, has 250,000 followers, so it took me so we've got here 408 posts. Some of my posts have been archived, so it's roughly 400, and I've been doing Instagram for 7 years, and I worked out that that is an average of 1 post every 6 to 7 days, so that's like once a week. And they say to upload a lot more than that. And the thing is, there's been periods where I just haven't uploaded at all, really. Every time I've had lots of busy work, I haven't been uploading. So just to give you an idea, so that's 7 years, 400 posts, an average of 1 post per week to get to 22,000 followers, and we could all do it quicker. And in fact, given what I know now, I think the thing with Instagram is it tends to snowball. So it's worth noting that it's not a linear progression. They don't just go like that all the way to 22. It kind of ramps up. But it is worth noting the time frame, and you could get there quicker, I think, if you apply some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video. So that's point one, is it's worth noting how long it takes to get there and how many posts it took me to get there, so that we can form a basis of calculations going forward. And in fact, like I said, the last 10,000 came just within the last 4 months, and we'll get into why I think that is later. Point number 2, the early days, the beginning phase. I wanted to talk about what that's like in the beginning and how much of a struggle that can be. So let's in fact go to my first post, all the way back in through time and space. Okay, so my first post, I think, was this guy, which is a little stylized piece, and it got, I don't know if it is, it got 32 likes. I think that's not too bad for a very first post. Interesting. And it only had a few hashtags. We'll talk about more about hashtags later. So this was way back in 2017, March of 2017, and yeah, it is tricky. I think at the time I had a few followers on other things. So sometimes when you jump into Instagram, you're not jumping as a fresh artist, you're jumping in with some degree of following somewhere else. So make sure and send out your Instagram link to as many people as you can in the beginning. And what I recommend in the early phase is, let's say you pick a niche. Say your art is within a niche, and ideally it is, and we can talk more about that as well. If your art is within a niche and you are consistent, you will have great things come to you. So let's say your niche is, let's say it's either something like, I don't know, in my case Cthulhu, or if it's sci-fi, or werewolves, or robots, or castles, and all you do is paint castles. Well, then it's a good idea to find other accounts that tend to display artwork in those themes, and build up a little relationship with them, because like with me, I did a lot of Masters of the Universe stuff, and there's obviously various Masters of the Universe accounts out there who like to promote artwork, so that got me some promotions. So if you get a good relationship with them, they will actually want to have your artwork on their Instagram page, because they need to upload daily, they need regular content, and so as long as your artwork is reasonably good, you can likely get them to promote your work a little bit. So if you can get I don't know, depends on how narrow your niche is, but let's say you had 2 types of work that you do, and each type of work has 5 influencer accounts. You could maybe put your work out to those people regularly and build up a relationship with them, and hopefully get a little bit of traction in the early days. Also in the early days, it's good to focus on well-known IPs. So you do have to piggyback off of those kind of things, so that when you're putting in your hashtags, you know what I mean? Imagine if you just upload I don't know, if you did a painting or a drawing of a chair, nobody's going to care about that, are they? So think in the early days, it's really important to be, unfortunately, as commercial as possible in terms of appeal and brands and all that kind of stuff. Don't just upload any old thing. Don't upload pictures of your pets yet. Don't upload pictures of any photographs of things, really. Just focus on the art, and slowly over time, when you have a following, then you could start to introduce a little bit about you. Because if somebody is going through their feed, they've seen, say, a couple of pieces of artwork, and they think, oh, I really like that, and they start following you. Next thing you know, in their feed, they've seen a random picture of a dog, and they're like, what's this doing in here? And then you'll break trust. So that's the early phase. Think about well-known IPs and make relationships with other accounts which have themes that you within which your artwork fits. So post frequency is number 3. We've heard this a million times until we're sick of it. How often should you post? So I won't say anything that's already been said 1,000 times. All I will say is this: once you get a bit of a pace going, like for me, the average was once a week. If I'd have posted more frequently, I'd have got to a higher number of followers sooner. So it's just literally is a 1 in, 1 out equation. You know, upload 3 times as many things, and you'll get there 3 times quicker. It's not directly going to result in automatically getting there 3 times quicker, but it will be quicker is the thing. A lot of people talk about, or say to me, well, how am I supposed to, and it's a fair thing, how am I supposed to create art every single day while doing work and uploading that? Well, the thing is, and we'll get to this later, you don't have to, like, for example, I've got 400 posts here. They're not all 400 unique posts. So you can re-upload things, and that is a strategy that I've been using to great effect. So repurpose things, take a thing that you've made, and you have to be careful. It's not going to be great if, say, you have a finished piece and then a crappy sketch. If you upload the crappy sketch, the thing about Instagram that's tricky is you can lose followers if you're not careful. So it's the only platform that I can think of where you have to be careful what you upload, because it can cost you. So you have to be a little bit careful when you're uploading. Don't just upload any old thing. So with regards to scheduling and how many posts, just post as many times as you can and try and fit it into a schedule. Try and keep a repository of all your art and have it ready to go in a folder where you can just get it to your phone or something like that really quick, and you can just keep going through it and keep digging through old stuff and see if you can polish it up and make it look good, and just find other ways to take what you already have and feed that in. And like I say, if some people miss your upload it again, slightly different take on it, something like that, and then you can increase your frequency that way. Point number 4, the Instagram format. This is pretty big. Let's go back to, so what I've discovered is, this is pretty big, I think. Instagram, obviously, portrait format, okay? Concept artists, illustrators, landscape format. 9 out of 10 times, it seems. So we have this discrepancy, and I know this amazing artist, Quentin, maybe, that's not the correct pronunciation, by the way, he's French. He, in the beginning, I remember him saying, oh, I hate Instagram because it's portrait and all my work is super landscape. Well, check this out. This is what I've been doing lately. All of my work is landscape, but then I crop in and then I show the landscape. In the beginning, I would see if there's any examples. Well, I started to go square, that's halfway there, and then I would sometimes do this, which isn't ideal, but this was very difficult to crop for Instagram, to be fair. This is terrible, don't do this, even though this was done recently. Don't do this, just doesn't work. So take your, instead, I don't know if I eventually rectified that mistake. Not really. What you need to be doing is find any piece of the painting that you can go portrait with, and go portrait. Like this was very difficult to crop, but it got 5,000 likes. Plus there was some good music used, and then you see the landscape one at the end. So yeah, go portrait where possible. Always go portrait, in my opinion. So yeah, even this piece. And to be fair, you can often find a really nice portrait crop of most paintings. So yeah, that's point number 4, go portrait. Point number 5, oh, this is tricky. Are there any benefits to having followers? Right, that is the question that has been driving me crazy lately. I have got 22,000 followers, and it translates to nothing at this stage except attention from other artists, which is the thing that I've been telling everybody to get away from. So this is my work in progress. This is what I'm trying to figure out. So I want to figure this out and then come back and do more of a business style focus on Instagram. Currently it's mainly about getting the numbers up and getting eyeballs on your work, because you don't really get jobs through Instagram like you do with ArtStation and LinkedIn. You sometimes get asked for commissions, and most of the time they don't have much money. If you're starting out and you don't mind only charging a few $100s for a commission, that can work as well. I have links to my Etsy. I have links here to my Etsy, my ArtStation, my YouTube, and Gumroad. Well, it's my link tree, which contains YouTube, Gumroad, blah blah blah. And I've checked my Etsy stats, and it is getting links from Instagram and it is getting links from YouTube, but it's not really translating into sales, which is, when you think about it, given the fact that you don't really get much work through Instagram, the only good reason to get decent followers on Instagram is to sell a product, because otherwise it's just vanity. It kind of looks impressive, I guess, but you really need to start thinking about what you can sell on Instagram. And for some reason, I don't know if I understand it or not, a lot of artists are giving me shit for trying to sell things and trying to tell other artists to sell things, because for some reason they think that if you're an artist, you're supposed to sit in your bedroom and do art all day, and then just eat cornflakes and live with your mother for the rest of your life, because you should never sell anything and you should never market anything. I don't know why they think that. If you want to survive as an artist, there is money. It needs to come in from somewhere, given the fact that we're in the age now where the industry is dying and jobs are dying. It's never been more an important time to sell something. So the benefits to Instagram: you will need to figure out a way to have your Instagram account have products that you are selling, whatever that can be. And some people are being extremely creative. They are making things with their hands, physical things that look really great. I've seen things on Instagram that done by sculptors, for example, who do cool little action figure things that have like a nostalgic vibe. And as soon as I see them, I think, I really want that thing, and I want to buy it. And you need to be the person providing those cool things that people aren't forced to buy, but they desperately want to own that thing. And I think that we forget that, and we put just art on Instagram instead of a product. So start thinking now, and start thinking in those terms, because I didn't. I was just putting art on Instagram to get followers. And then I finally realized in 2024, after 7 years, and I've finally got enough followers that I would imagine that somebody getting those followers would make something. I finally realized, oh, it doesn't translate to anything. And I wouldn't be surprised if many artists at the 100,000 follower mark also weren't getting any income from their Instagram, because they just didn't focus on treating it like it's a shop, a store, a place to purchase from them. So really bear that in mind. I don't have all the answers yet, but I will be looking into that very deeply and trying to figure out a solution. Moving on. So that brings me to point number 6, which is the fear of selling to artists. It's kind of tied into number 5. We're trying to reach, as I mentioned in a previous video, you have this bubble. The ArtStation bubble is that big. The art community bubble is that big. But the greater public is seemingly somewhat infinite. And we kind of need to be creating products that the general public can buy, not just targeting our fellow artists, because maybe it's not fair, because the idea is that most artists don't have money, and it's a tricky thing to try and resolve that. But generally I feel like if I'm selling something, I feel a bit funny about it if it's being sold to artists, and I feel like there's this discomfort there. So you could, this is something that I saw someone else do, some other artist, open a separate account just with your products maybe, and then you can just nail that as a shop. I just had to interrupt myself there because I inadvertently meandered into a side topic of the idea of selling, not wanting to sell to artists, which is then to sell to the general public. So my next point was the breaking into selling to the general public, and that paradigm shift, and how essential that paradigm shift is. So as I've said before, and I'll probably keep talking about this for years to come, there is a certain point as an artist, you start weighing up, here's what I love doing, but it's probably not going to make me any money. And if you're wanting to support yourself as an artist, this subject is pretty big, but you will have to start considering what aspects of the things that you do are the most commercial. Sorry if it's getting a bit dark. There we go. Which aspects are the most commercial, because you are looking at weighing up whether you can continue to be an artist and support yourself. So it's a difficult thing, because a lot of artists frown upon this. There's like an elitism where artists think that they should only be doing art for their deep inner exploration, and it's kind of, I think to some degree, it's self-indulgent, and it's a sense of entitlement. Is it not good enough? And that is a question that's difficult to answer. Is it not good enough that we get paid and we earn a living doing something creative? Maybe. My argument is, this is how I look at it. You should be as commercial as feasibly possible, doing something that you sort of enjoy doing, so that you can get set up and do the thing that you really like doing on the side, without having to do something degrading to make money that you absolutely hate, so that you can do something on the side. Why not do something that people see it as quite binary? I'm going to get a job in the worst possible situation, like a supermarket, that is the typical, or working in a fast food joint, which is everybody's nightmare. Every artist's nightmare is working in those, which is why we put in all this work in the first place, which is why we'll kill ourselves for 10 years just to avoid that hell. It's like people say that there's that, and then there's doing art on the side. If I don't make it, I'm going to get a shit job. Well, why not just sell the fuck out and make something that is going to pay you, that still involves art, and then you do your thing on the side, or you do it later once you've accumulated some notoriety. So this idea is you have to take what you love doing, and sorry if this is repetitive because I've mentioned it before in other videos, and take what people love and you look at the way that they intersect and you pick that, and you can literally see it on like here. So here's my Instagram, and I'll show you my most popular piece, right? It is this. Well, actually, it got overtaken. It got overtaken by this this lighthouse, right? It took just a few hours, but it's not. There's not much in it. It's not like, oh, well, this is therefore better than this. This is super popular. It's one of my most popular pieces. It is not exactly what I love doing. Let's look at another piece. This one also got very popular. However, and this is a big however, and I can feel this resonating in my art soul, there is part of this that I really deeply can love, is the thing. And what you will find is, in terms of your art soul, if we can call it that, if there is something that you really, really like doing, I'm trying to think what my most favourite piece might be in all this. I don't know. I loved my Ghostbusters project. That was pretty cool. I love doing these. I think these Simpsons horror, some of my favourite pieces. I love these, but they don't get much attention. So that is a damn shame. So I re-released these recently, given my higher... Did I? I maybe didn't. No, yeah, no, here, yeah. So got like 1,200 likes. So it's not huge compared to the other ones. I would love it if these got the huge likes, and I would do loads more, and I would really explore that, and that would make me happy as fuck. But that's just not gonna happen. I also enjoyed making this, which didn't get much attention at all, even though it's sci-fi. I thought, you know, what if I do sci-fi and make it really nicely coloured? That didn't do well. The fact of the matter is, these two pieces, this guy and this guy, have gone nuts on my Instagram. And I would rather do that and get a lot of good feedback, a lot of reward, than do the other stuff and feel like I'm just getting nowhere, because it's a little bit depressing. So and you can tap into it. You know, if I was to do these all day, I could really tap into this vibe and find a way that I could really love it and start to slowly mold it into something that I like even more. Like maybe make it a little bit darker, hone in on certain aspects. So this is a huge topic, but as you upload to Instagram, in a nutshell, you will find pieces that stand out from the crowd, and you want to start paying careful attention to what those are, see if there is a pattern, and then start to double down on those. I need to do that. I've been telling myself for a long time now, right, do more of these, and I guess part of me is afraid that I won't be able to do I'll upload something and it'll be nowhere near as good as these, which can happen. So yeah, that's a huge thing. Try and think about what the general public wants, and so that you can target that and build up your profile. You will build more followers, and you will start to develop this back and forth where you're growing, you're satisfying people are giving you good feedback, and then from there maybe you could start to think outside of that and start to do your own thing on the side. Maybe make it a completely separate project for a separate account or something. But for the time being, it is important to secure yourself as an artist that you can make a living selling something to the general public, not just the art community. Point number 8, the illusion of unsuccessful posts. Fascinating subject. So, going back in time, this post here, this was a study of one of my favourite oil painters, Jeremy Mann, and this was like an oil study, and it got 25 likes back in 2017. Fast forward to when I reposted the exact same art after having about 20,000 followers. Here it is, 2,500 likes, which is all right actually, because lately my average is about 1,000, 1,200 or so is a typical ratio that I've been getting lately. If you look at all these, 1,000, 2.5, 1,000, 2.5. So if you think about it, 2,500 is pretty good, and it's the same piece of artwork. All I did was upload it while having more followers. So it's interesting because I have seen me upload something and go, oh god, everyone hates it and I suck. And it's not the case. There is this weird phenomena in art that for some reason we don't really think about, which is if all the people in the world that saw our art, that would be fans of us, saw it, it would have huge attention. The only reason why our artwork gets so little attention is just because it's not reaching people yet. So don't be discouraged if you upload something in the beginning and it flops. It could be that it's crap, is the thing. There is some crap artwork out there that doesn't really deserve to get many likes because it's not very good, and that's fine because we all have artwork that's not very good. But if you're pretty confident that the artwork that you did is pretty good, and it's hard to be objective there, but let's just say for argument's sake you find a piece that you think is good, see what happens if you upload it again when you have more followers, and again when you have even more followers, and you'll be surprised that it turns out that actually it was alright. And then the other phenomenon is if enough people follow you, your artwork quality can go down and people will still like it. So marketing is key. Okay, point number 9, possibly the most important point, which is hashtags. So how it works is there are hashtags that have a certain amount of popularity, and the novice Instagrammer would think, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to upload my art. I've got like 200 followers, and I will find a hashtag that has 10 million followers of that hashtag, and therefore I will gain more popularity. And it doesn't work that way, because obviously how it works is if there's millions of people following a hashtag, only the posts with the most attention are going to rise to the top of that feed. So how it works is you need to take your level of followers and proportionately add hashtags in the correct size that pertains to those level of followers. So for example, if you've got a few hundred followers, then you look for hashtags in the few thousand range, the few thousand people following that hashtag range. If you then get a few thousand followers, you can start to look at hashtags in the tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 range. Then when you get to beyond 10,000 followers, you can maybe start looking at the few 100,000 follower hashtags. And so here's the thing, this is why I think, as I mentioned before, this is how I think I grew 10,000 followers in 4 months, because I was stuck. Here's the thing that I wanted to express. I was stuck at 12,000, something like 12,300 followers for about 3 or 4 years, if you can believe that. I got to 12,000 followers, and all of a sudden, everything that I uploaded, I would lose as many followers as I gained, and it made me stop posting on Instagram for a while, which is interesting to note, because if I did what I did in 7 years, like half of that time my account was just dead, because I was just like, ugh, what's the point? Instagram's not working anymore. So around about Christmas time is when I upload my Christmas pieces, which can be a bit popular, because around Christmas time you've got some good hashtags. You've got popular hashtags. So how I managed to grow was this. I just uploaded, like, let's see, I can actually find it. So we're looking at January. We're looking at Christmas time, which is where I upload this stuff here. This is November, and it was this one, late November, so just coming up to Christmas time, and I uploaded this, and it went nuts with some huge hashtags that I never before felt like I was entitled to use, and apparently I think I wasn't realizing it. So some of these, I can't remember, I don't know what the size of these hashtags are, but Christmas painting, Christmas art, digital artist, snow painting, winter painting, Christmassy, I think those were in the millions. So by the time I got to about the 12,000 follower mark, I was, it turns out, entitled to gain some of those bigger hashtags. And as I did, everything just took off. So from that point on, and I've done it ever since, I've started to include bigger hashtags because I'm in that bracket of getting decent likes on things. When you get decent likes on things with a big hashtag, it just snowballs and snowballs because it's being picked up on those huge hashtags and being pushed forward. So that's one thing about hashtags, is as you grow, get bigger hashtags, but don't aim for them too soon. The other thing is hashtag numbers. I've heard that there is some sort of formula that somebody said that there is a strategy where you should use 9 to 10 hashtags, and then another strategy where you use 13 to 15, and then another strategy where you use 4 to 5, and then you see which one works for you. But this one uses, I think, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this is huge. Let's see what the lighthouse one has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, but I think stay away from anything more than the low teens is what I would say. In the beginning, I would use like 25 hashtags, and I think as Instagram has gotten on, it's preferred smaller. So I'm yet to be brave enough to tackle the 4 to 5 hashtags. Maybe I'll try that someday. The other thing that I want to mention about hashtags that's important is as you're painting, as you're creating art, as you're creating a subject matter, you then upload it to Instagram, you pick a hashtag or several hashtags. There are some things that just have no decent hashtags, so you're not likely to get picked up. For me, my big ones here, I can use snow, I can use Christmas, and cute things, and those are all big, you know. So if you can have multiple subjects with big hashtags that are very versatile, pirates is pretty good for me. But you know, the Masters of the Universe stuff, I think one of the reasons why it's not too popular is because you're dealing with mediocre hashtag volumes. The most you can do is like He-Man or Masters of the Universe or something, and you're not getting those big ones. Who knows, maybe I could explore that and choose something like fantasy art, and maybe that would go big. So yeah, a lot of like sci-fi, there's just not a great deal for sci-fi. Cthulhu is similar, but there are certain subjects that just go huge because they're ubiquitous, well-known subjects like snow, oil painting, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's about everything that I know about hashtags, but it's extremely important, and I hope you learn from that, because it's certainly something that I've figured out, and it's taken me a while to do so, but it's now changed the way I work on Instagram. Number 10, the quality of work. Pretty obvious, really. Maybe not obvious. I mentioned this before, but I see some artists just uploading their worst work on Instagram. You shouldn't do that. It's not like a portfolio. You can upload sketches, but they should be good sketches. If they're crap, people will go ugh, and then they'll just turn off, and then they'll go through your feed and go, oh, this artist isn't very good. You know, I've got some really crappy work that if I put on Instagram, it would not go too well. That said, when you get more followers, the quality bar starts to be more lenient and let you upload stuff that you perhaps otherwise weren't getting much traction on. Like this, it's like a sketch. It's an okay sketch, but you can't really just upload that to Instagram unless you upload it alongside like this, and then you show that, and then you show that, you know. But it doesn't do any good. So make sure and do some degree of curating. Don't just throw up everything, you know, that you do. It's hard to judge it because in the beginning, maybe your art quality and your art, the level of your art journey is quite young, so your art isn't great. Just try to be somewhat discerning about what you're uploading, and don't just fill your feed with every piece of crappy sketch that you've ever done. So number 11, consistent theme. I touched upon this earlier as well. This is huge, and it's something that I've struggled with for years, and I'm trying so hard to figure out a way through this. But consistent theme. All right, okay. So I think I mentioned in a previous video the artist Justin Donaldson, Australian chap who had only a small Instagram following, and he got some online mentorship from some guys who teach about how to market your fantasy illustration business, and they made him hone in on what he liked. And this is absolutely crucial. It is the most important thing in making a living as an artist, I think, is besides, I think there's two things in there. One of them is passive, because it's just a given. Your artwork has to be good. Simple as that. But there's a certain threshold whereby it can be this good, but if you're consistent with the style and the quality and the theme, then that can overtake and you can stay this good. Whereas most people assume that you have to just be the very best and you'll automatically go up there. But no, you have to be good while bringing up your honing of your theme, and it needs to be consistent. Obviously, if it's your year one being an artist, you're maybe not going to do that. But if I could give any artist advice at this stage, if they're starting out or whatever, it would be to pursue a theme and a style way more aggressively than you otherwise would. So for me, I think if I started to fill up my timeline with this kind of thing and build a whole universe out of it, and I just did that, and I started to think, oh god, I want to be able to do more things, well, that's the trade-off, I guess. But what I would find probably is that my account would grow and grow and grow, and I would be able to create this big business purely around this kind of style painting. It's as simple as that. Because that artist Justin Donaldson, he started out with a few thousand followers, and within a matter of weeks he'd gone up to 50,000 followers, and now he's at about 125, 150,000 followers, something like that. And he's got a flourishing business with painting tutorials and prints, and probably sells original paintings and all that kind of stuff. So consistent theme is huge. Try to get there at some point so that your Instagram feed looks like a consistent artist. So yeah. And the final points, number 12, which is just final points. Reels, the little things like Instagram algorithm, reels, do they help? I know of one artist that said he grew 10,000 followers just from doing reels, showing quick Blender tutorials. I didn't find much success with reels. I got some success with this. This has 1,900 likes, which is pretty good actually. But all my other reels didn't do much at all. Do I have like a reels section? Like this did. Oh no, sorry, that was how many views. 1,000 just for a little time-lapse video. 390 for this. This did actually quite good on TikTok. But yeah, it's just I've never done really well on Reels at all, so I don't know why everyone's raving about that, but it's something to consider and explore. There are some artists out there who just do big 3D animation portrait reels of like 10-second loops of cool stuff, and they have built big followings, so do your own research there. The boost post option is something that I've experimented with in the past. I would tend to avoid it unless you've got a really good product that a lot of people will see it and want to buy it. If you spend money on ads for Instagram, say you spend $20 just to send it round a few thousand people, you'll find that you'll get a few more likes, a few more followers, and that's about it. So it's kind of a waste of money, unless, like I say, you can have a really, really cool product that people will instantly see and go, oh, I want to buy that. So I would avoid boosting posts. And I think that's about it, really. I think I've said everything that I could say. So yeah, I think that's just about everything that I can think of right now about Instagram. Like I say, my goal is in the future to figure out how to turn Instagram into more of a business and figure out how to navigate that landscape without just blowing off all of my followers and alienating them. Yeah, I am confident that if you were to follow the points that I've outlined, that you will benefit from a much bigger following, a faster following, and from there it's kind of up to you to figure out what you want to do with that following, because I think ultimately the point of a following is to be able to have your fans buy your products and appreciate your products and help sustain you as an artist so that you can do more and build a nice bit of momentum and a healthy feedback loop going forward. That's just my 2 cents. But let me know what you think in the comments. So yes, I shall see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.